Alright, so today we are going to be talking about our new 4-star polearm user, which is Mika. Now Mika is supposed to be our physical dedicated support for all of our physical units that we can make in this game, or maybe possible future ones in the game. And today we're going to be talking about his, his artifacts, his teams, all this good stuff regarding him and his kit. We're going to be explaining all of that, but before we get into all that, make sure to leave a sub on the channel and make sure to leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the Genshin content. But let's go ahead and start talking about Mika. Now Mika, as I said, is our brand new 4-star polearm user. Mika, at this point in the game right now, he's supposed to be the saving grace for physical, because physical has been a really forgotten element. I guess you could say not really an element, but damage type, such as Geo as well. But he's supposed to be helping physical, get some standing against all of these new element teams, all these new Dendro reaction teams. He's supposed to be that step up to, at least try to kind of match it, or at least try to get up there into the same range. That was Mika's purpose. But it seems like there's a lot that has to be done for Mika for him to be working crazy well. And for a lot of the other characters in the game, I think his role is already filled up, to be honest. But let's go ahead and talk about Mika and his kit. For his normal attack, he has a bunch of different, weapons he's using in his normal string. So that's that. You don't really gotta level that up. For his skill is the Starfrost Swirl. Now when you use the Starfrost Swirl, you are going to get an attack speed bonus depending on your talent level. At level 6 is going to be 18%. I know it goes up to like 24, I think, but I'm not leveling up his talent even more than this because it costs Raiden mats, and I'm not going to use those right now. But you do get an attack speed increase, and then if you tap or hold it, I think if you hold it, you will end up getting these shards that will increase physical damage, and we'll talk about more about that in a quick second when we talk about his passive. But for the most part, his skill is just going to be a dart or a arrow that's going to split apart and hit multiple different enemies than the one you're initially hitting. For his ult is basically a big burst of healing for all your party members, and when you have this ult active and you normal attack, Mika is going to be regenerating health for whatever character is active on the team. So it's a really nice, I guess you say, character for healing and making sure that you're staying alive. The only thing is that he doesn't give any type of resistant interruption. He's not that very well in, applicating any type of elements, because the only thing you can use to do that is his skill. His burst isn't really anything but just an instant heal, which can be good in some uses, but I think we have a lot of units that already do this type of stuff. And let's go ahead and talk about his passives. The Suppressive Barrage, basically for every Starfrost Swirl skill that you do, there's going to be these shards, and when you get these shards, they're going to break into 3 different arrows, like you say, from the shards, and you get a detector stack. When you get these detector stacks, you end up getting 10% physical damage bonus based on your detector stacks, and you can only hold up to 3 of them. So there are other ways to get more, which we'll be talking about again in the passive, but you can only get 3. And then if you use your skill again and your buffs are still up somehow, so maybe you've got like there's no sacrificial polearm, but if you somehow end up getting your skill before the stacks end, then you're going to be refreshing it. Basically, it's going to cancel out all the other ones and put the new ones in place. So there's that. And then for his last talent, his second talent, if you use your skill and then you use your ult and you use crit hits, you're going to be getting 1 stack of detector. So this is going to be increasing your physical damage even more. There are certain basically set of sequences you have to do in order to get the max amount of detector stacks, with hitting all the shards on different enemies, and also being able to proc the ult and the skill with the crit hit, allowing you to get 1 more detector stack, and then you're able to increase the detector stacks as well. So basically, detector stacks equals 10% physical damage, and each one you get is a bonus to physical damage. Now this is a little bit of a problem when it comes to his kit, because usually when you're using characters, which I'm going to go ahead and bring up the main headliner unit for physical, which is Eula at the moment. Usually when you use Eula, you aren't really trying to fight mobs of enemies. You're trying to really nuke a boss down, basically one-shot it to the best of your ability for the very high invested Eulas. Most Eulas, regardless, you're doing or using her for boss melting. For Mika, it kind of seems like he wasn't built for Eula, because the way his passives work and the way his skills work, you really want to use whoever you're trying to play with Mika in a mob situation, or when there's multiple enemies in a small area, or in a a largely sized area, there's multiple enemies period coming at you and are able to get hit by these different shards, because these different shards give you the physical boost. Now the fact that if you only have one enemy in front of you, you're only going to get that one stack of physical damage increase. It has barely anything when it comes to a lot of the other characters with their constellations, with their buffs, that they could be granting you a lot more bonuses when it comes to that. Now I guess you could say the attack speed bonus you do get from his skill is going to help a little bit when it comes to his Eula's ult and how she gets her stacks, but you also have to take into account you're going to be giving up some utility when you're using this for the attack speed bonus. So is it really worth it 100%? Because depending on the different types of characters you can use with Eula, this skill kind of loses value as you list the other characters that you have to run on the team to make Eula the best that she could possibly be, and which other units are able to buff Eula during her burst, which we'll get into that during the team section. But for the most part, Mika is kind of like an AoE type of buffer for physical, which right now in this game we don't really have that, especially with like our only main DPS physical unit being Eula. She's more centered towards single target, so it's not looking real good for Mika right now. His last talent is just, you're able to look at local specialties from Mondstadt. So when you're looking at Mika, what are you going to want to use? Well, there's two different options. You can either do straight HP build for his healing, or you can do energy recharge, so that you're able to run like his burst, being able to park that healing, or being able to use a skill. You're going to be rocking any type of energy recharge weapon. Most likely Favonius Lance is probably his very best option for you to use. You don't really need to be rocking the HP percent, because the healing from his burst is pretty good, but the main thing you're trying to use him for is to get those extra stacks, get that burst up, get the skill up, have that extra stack put onto your normal stacks from your skill, and this is going to be increasing his physical damage. So this is basically the very best polearm you can run for Mika. I don't know, it's just, especially with his artifacts as well, there's two different sets you can use, which is one being the Noblesse Oblige set. So this is going to allow you, after you use your burst, which that's his main thing with making it higher stacks of detector you're able to get, and also giving you that healing. This is going to not only, well, it's kind of going to waste the 2-piece set bonus, but the 4-piece set bonus is going to be buffing Eula up. So it is going to be helping a lot when it comes to buffing. And if you don't want to run, what is it called? The Noblesse Oblige set for Mika, just to give the buff, then you can run the more newer Ocean Hued Clam. Just because Mika heals for so much, and he heals over an interval of time, he is going to be doing some damage when you pop his burst, and he does more healing when you're doing normal attacks with Mika. So you can get a big burst of healing, do some more damage that way, and maybe keep popping his burst if you build it with HP and energy recharge, and have energy recharge spear. That can help a lot when it comes to his healing and also his being able to burst. But other than that, Noblesse Oblige and Ocean Hued Clam are really his best weapons. For his constellations, for the first one, you are going to get a decrease in the interval for healing based on the attack speed increase from your skill. So the more talent levels you have on your skill, the shorter the intervals is going to be for you to get healed when you're using the ult. For C2, when a skill hits an opponent, or when your little shards hit an opponent as well, you're able to get one detector stack from that. So instead of it being a max of, I think it's 30% physical damage, it goes all the way up to 40% when it comes to C2. It's either from 30 to 40 or 40 to 50. So you get a 10% extra bonus from C2 based on your skill. C3 is going to be helping his burst, if I'm not wrong. Yes, that is this burst. C4, when you're using his burst and you heal other teammates, which is going to come from them normal attacking, then he is going to restore energy. This is going to help him get his burst up a lot more faster. It's going to help him keep that uptime for his maximum stacks to increase. He's going to be able to heal your teammates by a lot more, being able to heal your teammates a lot more often. So this is a pretty good constellation as well. C5 is going to be helping his skill, and then C6 is our second generation buffers for certain types. And this is why I said that Faruzan, Goro, and Sara are currently the only hyper specific buffers in the game right now, because I know many people were saying Bennett and I forgot who else it was. It was Bennett and somebody else were the buffers for those elements. Well, not really. Although they are buffers, I think those are the first generation buffers for those elements. These are the second generation buffers, and I want to say this because for C6, for Goro, Sora, and Faruzan, they all have their C6s increasing 60% crit damage on a certain type. So I do think these are the new, modern, and more specific and second generation buffers for C6 because they all come with this 60% extra crit damage from their C6. So when you use his skill, you're going to be able to get another stack, which is going to be boosting it to 50%. And then when you use the soul wind, or hit them with the shards, you get the extra physical crit damage by 60%. Now I do think when you do get C6, then Mika becomes very viable, very good to use. But before that, I don't know, I just don't think he gives a fat ton of value when it comes to Eula's teams, because Mika can be replaced by a lot of different characters. Eula usually needs an electro character, so that's already off the table for one slot. It doesn't really matter who it could be. It could be Raiden Shogun, which is going to allow her to, burst more. It's going to allow her to get off-field application for electro, so that you're able to use that physical reaction with cryo, reducing the physical shred or reducing physical res. If you don't want to use Raiden Shogun, then you have Kuki Shinobu, and Kuki is going to allow you to have some healing, so that's really, really nice as well. Still able to give off the super conduct reaction for Eula. And then you of course want to have a buffer. Ben is going to work very well because if you're using Eula's signature weapon, if you're using Eula's making her the way she is built, you're not going to usually have a lot of attack because Eula's weapon, her signature weapon, or you're going to be using something like a crit rate, crit damage weapon, something like that. She's going to be losing a little bit of attack if you don't have a bunch of it in your substat. So Bennett is really, really good for her with giving her the rest of her attack that she needs, because the Song of Broken Pines comes with physical damage bonus and not really something that's going to be helping her regarding attack. So, and with Mika, he's kind of in a weird spot because we do have other characters like Zhongli, who is able to shred physical as well. This is going to help with a nice buff and an impenetrable shield, making it so that Eula can get her stacks without having to worry. So he does provide the shield and provides the physical res shred. You also have, if you really want to, Shenhe. Shenhe is able to do the same thing, physical res shred on her ult. She's also able to buff burst and skills with her skill as well. So that helps Eula a little bit. Not really a good partner for Eula, but it's possible. And then the main thing is Rosaria. Now Rosaria is one of Eula's best partners when it comes to the physical team, just because of what she's able to do for Eula. In Rosaria's Constellations, I think it's C6, you're able to decrease the opponent's physical res by 20% for 10 seconds. And not only that, you're still able to get energy from her C4, and you're also able to transfer crit rate onto your active character. So yeah, when you're able to get a bunch of crit rate on Rosaria and you're able to use her ult and you transfer that onto your active character, that's going to allow Eula to crit more often. That's going to make her a lot more smoother to play. It's just that Mika right now is in a role that's already filled, and he's there solely to be the buffer for Eula and her team. And the thing is that he just doesn't do enough, in all honesty, to have him on the team 100%. You can have him on the team, and for those that want him on the team, go ahead, your account, your primos, do what you want. But if you don't have a C6 Mika, I don't know, I just don't see the value, in my honest opinion, when it comes to having Mika. Because having him C6 does make him valuable because he's able to give Eula that extra crit damage, and the crit damage is going to be an enormous boost to Eula's damage, so yes, that would be worth it. But Mika and his attack speed bonus, his physical damage bonus, can be trumped by other characters with, Zhongli's amazing shield and his physical shred, Rosaria's crit rate boosting, and also having the physical shred as well. Shenhe has physical shred as well. Like I said, not the best partner, of course, but it's just another option. Mika by himself, it's just not C0. It's just not the craziest of options to have. I think Rosaria is still a little bit better. Not a little bit. She is better than Mika because she's able to give you extra crit rate. She's able to fit physical res shred. It's just Mika, like I said, is in a role that's already been taken up, and he doesn't do enough to the point where it's saving physical or helping physical out to be able to match up with these other elemental teams. So the fact that he doesn't is a little upsetting. I was hoping Eula would be really crazy, being able to, you know, match up with at least in the range of Dendro teams, on the range of the higher hitting teams, with Mika and what he could do. But he's kind of restricted with his passives, and he's also restricted with how he works with the detector stacks. His healing doesn't do anything but, you know, heal with his burst, which is not anything bad. It just doesn't give any utility but the healing, which, you know, Bennett can already do. Zhongli can already give a shield. You can have Kuki instead of Raiden. Again, not in the best of spots, and he's in a role that's already been taken up. Unless you have C6, and he provides a really good boost to the team's damage. But other than that, that's pretty much it for this video. Mika isn't the craziest in my honest opinion. I think he just doesn't have enough to make Eula as good as I wanted her to be, or as good as the team was already without him being introduced to the game. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.